Okay, so for this video, I'm going to use the template that I created. It is in a different folder, and we added this folder with the grouping. So if I go into my simple A landscape, then same thing, I have the model view turned off. All of these items, pretty much everything that was in the standard, I just rearranged and made some adjustments, but we also added some of the custom properties so that it would be able to identify the materials, the finish, the rev levels, some of the other items. And then I also want to do this as a multi-sheet. So we did the singles, and we could just keep on going doing single parts. Um, with the configured piece, it goes a little bit different. But if you drew the quad or the single 30 by 30 all the way up through the 120 by 120, save as and open, and have those whatever it works out to, 8 or 9 files, then you create a drawing for each one, or you create a multi-sheet drawing for the item. So from the optional videos, the layers are going to come in per the standards. So I've set those. You're going to see some different colors, and there's I think it makes a nicer drawing in the long run. And if the company, the organization has generated one of these, then you'll have that all set up already. So I'm going to go to the 120 by 120 because I want to go the easy route first, but then I also want to show you the different ways of managing this geometry. So I clicked out of that too soon. I'm going to drag in the front and then the top, and we're just going to go ahead and accept. So that one on the scale looks pretty good, and it's half scale. So with the geometry and the table. So let's go back over here, and I hate when it does that. And it goes all the way over to here, and they generate their table. We could go all the way back to the single, the 30 by 30 with the with all of these. So I just want to do a couple of examples of that and build it out. So in the right mouse button, we have tables, and this is not a generated, let's say, an automatically generated table. So if I do we haven't created a template, probably going to need 5, might as well throw 10 in there. And the layer, I haven't set any layer for the table or whatnot, so let's go ahead and set that up. So we go to we really call it the configuration, but um, if I do it as a description, now I don't think, or I don't see any link to, oh, there is a link to properties. So if, yeah, that's really not going to help me to link to that property though, because I haven't set up the configuration. So really this is going to be my 30 by 30, and I could also set this up from the Excel sheet if I generated one of those. 30 by 60 and 30 by 90. Oops, let's go with the by, and 30 by 120 all the way down to 120, and I don't know if I have enough here or not, but 120 by 120. All right, and then from the A dimension, we're going to pick up, from the description. It might be obvious, but maybe not. So I can override the dimensions, go into the annotation, into the smart dimension, and this becomes my, let's see, I'm going height and then width. So I guess we'll just call it B. And it's warning me that it's going to disable it, which is fine. And let's get back into the smart dimension and A. So if I do that from here, it's not going to let me change it, but I can override the activity, and we'll go that way. So A and B. And I'm going to give myself a little more room. Come back to the smart dimension. All of them, well, I went to inches, so that one is going to be in that group. And then the 30, that one should snap. And that one should snap as well. All right, so I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit and position these a little better. And those are a little bit close, so if I double click on the grips, that should figure out which one I'm clicking on here. Okay, we'll leave that one. I'm not getting it to cooperate. So the 0.591 and the 1.18, the 30 millimeters, we could switch these back over to metric if we wanted to, but we now have the capability of doing 30 by 30. All of the holes are the same size, so 30 by 60, 30 by 90, and then all the way down to 120. I don't think I wanted to resize that, but there we go. All right, so if I go back and I look at the chart, see what Kindle throws at me. They have the length, width, and the hole pattern. And so if we go with the hole pattern, I might want something else in there, but let's go ahead and put the hole size. Now on the table, any of the tables, we should be able to right click in the arrow for positioning, and is it going to be on going to the properties? No. Okay, then I'm pretty much just going to want to resize it there and move those up. Like Excel, if I double click on a column, then it's going to resize. And then the pattern, so the 3 by 3. Okay, if I can type 3 by 3. Oh wait, wrong way. 3 by 4. Got the numbers from the chart stuck in my head. So 1 by 3, and then pattern of 1 is not necessarily a pattern. We could always copy and paste as well, and then that goes to the 4 by 4. All right, and then if I wanted to put something like number of holes, and then we would have the 1, 2, 3, or all the way down to 16. So we have to populate that manually. And then I can anchor that. If I shrink it up to its smallest, it's going to go to the headers. All right, so we'd finish that out, reposition those guys so they look a little bit better, add a dimension, And what I don't have in here then are the part numbers. So that would have been the next one. And again, this one had the missed number there, but the PL through, I would have to see if I can add a column. So maybe instead of the description, since that's already there, now I'm in the dimension. I think it was PL1. Well, these were spacer and plate, so spacer. One, I need to go back and double check my numbers. So anyway, I could either go by the description, the part number, however we want to manage those and edit them. If I wanted to add a column, insert column to the left, right, and that's going to give me now a part number, and we go ahead and populate those out. So I think I will leave that at 30 by 30. And next pass on this, I will have all my part number designations out and go ahead and finish out the chart. So, maybe as long as, but I have for all of the combinations of this, I have each of the items. So let's go over to the bracket. So adding a sheet. And because of the way I set this up, I added I add a sheet, and a multi-sheet drawing gives me the ability to print all of these or combination of sheets without opening each individual file. So that is one of the advantages. And if we come over here and grab the bracket, one of the things that we have to watch is it's a little more apparent out of the model view is selecting that configuration, but in the open I can come down and grab that configuration, pick my L bracket, and we're going to bring those guys up and the isometric and go ahead and hit OK. Now at this point I don't know that all of the dimensions are going to help me, but I can copy and paste and get at least some of these in position. So let's go ahead and add a few. And that one popped up. Oh, and I wanted to mention the rapid dimensions. So I don't use that, but I do see it come up every once in a while. So what do I want for datums here? That one looks okay. We've already got that one there. That one should be okay there. Size-wise, it's a little bit small, so maybe we'll go to 1 by 1, see what that does to the dimensions. Not too bad. All right, and again, these are going to stay aligned to the front view. So as I drag that one down, the right side moves with it. Come on, let me have the view. And let's see, what one am I missing? Let's go back into the smart dimension. We'll do one that way and one that way. So let's see, did I get an overall? No, it doesn't look like it. All right, so that gives me enough of a dimension. We'll see what happens if I duplicate this. So copy, and I want to paste it. So just off of screen, enough to be annoying. Let's see if I go with the Control V. All right, Control V will work since it cut that off after the selected sheet. Sheet 2, we go back to the previous, and I'm going to pick the C bracket. Those update, and I lose a few. All right, and there's a couple of things that I can do here. The 394, not much I can do with it. Let's see if I can redrag to that position. Nope, it jumped too much. All right, so I can try, but if it puts up too much of a fight, I'm just going to move on and reapply some of those guys. So, oh, and I already had that one, so I need that one. All right, and even though they were the same, the geometry changed, and I would want to add a through all. And this is one of those places where the hidden view, hidden lines shown would be handy. Right, so we've got those in place. I've got an overall height. That one stayed okay. All right, I'm sure I'm missing something somewhere. It's not going to be perfect, but I think I have enough to do a Control V after the selected sheet. I select the front view, which is the driving view, go to the reference configuration, change the Z bracket, and I'm going to have this same type of issue. Since it did not, I got rid of most of those, since it did not automatically insert the center mark, that would probably be a good one. All right, so annotation, center mark, pick the hole, and it adds that one in. And then make sure that I'm getting my dimensions in. Could go either way. I mean, there's kind of an assumption that those are on the same center line, but since they're at different levels, it might not be a bad idea. Datum-wise, we'll go that way. If I'm pulling them off of the same datum, we would go that way. It could potentially come back that way, so that's a kind of a question mark. And let's see, we've got the 0.94, the 591 going that way, 394 on that one. Reposition the Z bar. All right, not too bad. All right, if we go with a new and I go to model view on these guys, then we'll browse. And probably not my my favorite. If we bring in the 1040 up, probably, yeah, we'll just go front and to the side. And let's see if it'll let me Control C both of those, Control V. Now this is going to be the 10 by 30, and then Control V, and 10 by 20. All right, so all of these end up being the same alignment-wise, not overly concerned about them, but we have the geometry, we have the diameter. All right, so this was basically a speed run of for 5 sheets to generate enough geometry for all of the part files. If we did individual, or I wanted to go through and put all 16 or 17, whatever it works in, have individual sheet for individual part, that's going to be fine. We can add notes. The peg goes back to here. All right, so the PG 20-1, PG 30. So if I go to the annotations and we come up here, I can do PG 20-1 and then apply the next one, arrow over. That's going to be, actually that's 1 and that is the 30. And then we apply one more and 40. So we're pretty much doing what makes sense. We can do individuals, but I also have that capability to go through and add each of these items and the colors and the additions of some of these individual pieces. The table on the first sheet is probably the only oddball that um, I probably wouldn't have done if it wasn't for all of the combinations to be played out. So um, if you want to dimension them all individually, certainly is available to you. Just be aware of some of these options and the capabilities for the software. So I'm going to save that. And because this is a group, this is going to be my P5-3 parts and save it. And I'm going to accumulate a bunch of stuff in this folder. And if it, again, if you're using the standard template, fit it in there, position it as best you can, scale it to where you need it, make it look as good as you can.